The Gilded Age Season 4 trailer has sent shockwaves across fans everywhere. Because the unthinkable finally happens, Bertha Russell is heading straight into divorce. The woman who once clawed her way into the highest circles of New York society, who never backed down from a challenge, and who fought tooth and nail to build her empire alongside George, is suddenly facing the biggest scandal of her life. This isn't just another storyline, it's the collapse of a marriage that has defined the very heart of the show. And the trailer makes it clear. This season will not just test Bertha's ambition, it will break apart the very foundation of everything she has built. Season 3 left audiences with whispers, shadows, and cracks that most ignored, but the trailer for Season 4 shines a spotlight on what was always coming. At first glance, Bertha Russell seemed untouchable. She had secured her place at the center of society's grand ballrooms. She had triumphed over rivals who wanted to shut her out. And she had stood beside George as his power and fortune spread like wildfire through New York. Together, they were unstoppable. They represented not just wealth but the new age of ambition, a force that shook the old money families to their core. But beneath the shimmering lights of the opera houses and the marble halls, something darker was always simmering. Bertha's hunger for influence was never just about parties and appearances, it was about legacy, about control, about making her name last forever. And George, though powerful in his own right, was not immune to the pressures that came with Bertha's relentless drive. For years, their marriage looked like a partnership of equals. But the trailer now teases us with the possibility that this balance has finally shattered. Divorce in the Gilded Age was not just a personal tragedy, it was a public spectacle. A scarlet letter branded on anyone daring enough to pursue it. For Bertha, the threat of divorce isn't only about losing George. It's about losing the respect, the fear, and the prestige that she has fought for in every ballroom and every whispered negotiation. The trailer makes sure to underline this point, painting her not as a woman broken, but as a figure standing on the edge of war. This season doesn't just open the door to scandal, it drags it into the center of the story. The trailer hints at moments where Bertha stands isolated, her face hard yet trembling, as if she knows that society is circling like vultures waiting for her fall. The old money elite who tolerated her rise only because she fought harder than anyone are, shown in sly glances and muttered comments, finally savoring the chance to cut her down. Every step she takes in Season 4 will now be watched, not with awe, but with cruel anticipation. Can she outmaneuver them? Or will her own ambition be the very weapon used against her? The brilliance of this setup is that it doesn't reduce Bertha to a victim. No, the trailer frames her as someone cornered, someone forced to face betrayal and humiliation, yet refusing to bow her head. That's what makes her divorce so explosive. It isn't just about a failed marriage. It's about the reshaping of power itself. The Gilded Age has always been about battles between classes, wealth, and reputation. Now, with Bertha at the center of a divorce scandal, the show raises the stakes higher than ever before. Will she fight her way through? Or will the empire she built with George crumble into ruins right before her eyes? The trailer does not waste time. It drops the word that no one in Bertha Russell's glittering world ever expected to hear: divorce. In an era where even the hint of marital discord could ruin a woman's reputation forever. The idea of Bertha separating from George is more than shocking, it is earth. For the audience, it feels like watching the fall of a golden empire. For Bertha, it is a battle cry. She has always known that society's approval is as fragile as glass, and the moment that glass cracks, the whispers begin. And in Season 4, the whispers are louder than ever. The camera lingers on Bertha's expression, cold, unflinching, and yet haunted, as if she is daring the world to judge her, even as she prepares to strike back. What makes the trailer's divorce reveal so powerful is not just the scandal itself, but the unanswered questions it raises. Did George betray her trust, either through business or personal affairs? Did Bertha finally decide that his ambitions no longer matched her own? Or did the endless wars of society, the constant backstabbing, the obsession with status finally drive a wedge too deep to heal? The beauty of the teaser is that it doesn't give us a clear answer. Instead, it feeds us fragments. George, walking away from a crowded room with rage in his eyes. Bertha turning her head from him in icy silence. A letter being torn apart in anger. Each frame suggests betrayal, but none confirm it, leaving fans to imagine the firestorm that must have erupted between them. For the Russells, divorce is not just personal, it is political. George's empire thrives on strength and certainty. Investors, partners, and rivals alike look at his marriage as a symbol of stability. A guarantee that he controls not just his company but his household. If that symbol collapses, so does much of his power. The trailer cleverly shows flashes of men in suits murmuring in dark rooms. papers sliding across polished desks, and shadows of deals being made without George's presence. The implication is clear: divorce makes him vulnerable, and in the Gilded Age, vulnerability is blood in the water. Rivals who once feared him now see a man distracted, a man whose power may crumble because he cannot keep his own home in order. For Bertha, however, the stakes are even higher. She has clawed her way into the elite circles that once barred their doors to her. Every invitation to an opera, every nod of approval from a duchess, every victory at a ball came at the price of humiliation and struggle. Now, all of it hangs by a thread. The trailer hints at her walking into grand rooms only to be greeted with thin smiles, women turning their heads to whisper as she passes, and the sharp edge of exclusion closing in on her once again. But unlike the younger Bertha of earlier seasons, the woman we see now is seasoned, hardened, and unwilling to surrender. The look in her eyes is not one of defeat, but of defiance. The trailer promises a season where Bertha refuses to be defined by her husband's absence, and instead carves out her own destiny no matter the cost. And yet, the pain is still there. The audience is reminded that beneath the steel, Bertha once loved George fiercely. Their rise was built on partnership, on a shared hunger for power. The divorce is not only the tearing apart of a marriage but the destruction of a history they created together. The trailer briefly shows her standing in a grand empty hall, the chandeliers above shining but the room around her silent, as though the echoes of her past victories are mocking her. It's in moments like this that we realize the brilliance of the show's writing. Bertha is not invincible. She is human, caught between her ambition and her heartbreak, between her survival and her vulnerability. The trailer also hints at George's perspective, though only in shadows. He is seen walking into crowded rooms, his face dark with fury. He is shown, sitting alone in a railway car, staring out at nothing, as if haunted by the choices he has made. The suggestion is that George may not simply be the betrayer, but perhaps also the betrayed. Could it be that Bertha's ambition pushed them apart? Did she choose her place in society over their marriage? The brilliance of the season for Tease is that it leaves both sides in question. Was it his fault? Was it hers? Or was it the world they built together, so full of hunger, greed, and competition that finally broke them? The divorce bombshell becomes the centerpiece of the season, not only because of what it means for Bertha and George, but because of what it unleashes in society. Old money families, once terrified of Bertha's rise, now see their chance to destroy her. Rivals sharpen their knives, former allies keep their distance. And yet, amid all the chaos, the trailer suggests something even more dangerous. Bertha may find freedom in this scandal. Without George, she no longer has to fight for recognition as someone's wife. She can claim it entirely as herself. The question that hangs over every moment of the trailer is not just whether she will survive, but whether she might, against all odds, become even more powerful than before. If the divorce bombshell is the spark, then the reactions of New York society are the wildfire. The Gilded Age is a world built on appearances, reputation, and whispers passed from one gilded salon to another. And in Season 4, the trailer makes it clear: Bertha Russell's scandal becomes the talk of every ballroom, every opera box, every dinner table where power and privilege intertwine. The moment the word divorce escapes into the air, people who once bowed to Bertha's presence now circle like sharks, eager to feast on her downfall. But the beauty of the trailer lies in how it shows the reactions not as one note of gossip, but as a symphony of perspectives, each faction of society responding in ways that reveal their hidden motives, their jealousies, and their fears. Among the old money families, the reaction is nothing short of glee. For years, Bertha had been their greatest irritant, a constant reminder that new wealth could buy its way into their sacred halls. She had outwitted them, outshone them, and refused to be humiliated. Now, with her marriage seemingly crumbling, these same families see their chance to reclaim their dominance. The trailer shows flashes of high society gatherings where the whispers never stop, ladies lowering their fans to trade sly smiles, men smirking over glasses of brandy as they speculate on whether Bertha will even be invited to the next season's balls. The words are never spoken directly, but the meaning is clear. They believe the Russell empire is collapsing, and they intend to watch every piece fall. Yet, not every reaction is so gleeful. Some are cautious, even fearful. For those who had allied themselves with the Russells, businessmen who prospered under George's deals, socialites who basked in Bertha's grand events, this divorce represents uncertainty. The trailer suggests tension, showing figures sitting uneasily in lavish rooms, avoiding direct eye contact, as though unsure whether to stay loyal or quietly distance themselves. The power that Bertha and George once wielded together acted like a shield. Now, without the marriage, that shield is broken. Their friends must decide: stand beside Bertha and risk being dragged down with her, or step away and save their own fragile reputations. It is a test of loyalty, and the trailer hints that many will fail it, but the most intriguing reactions come from those closest to Bertha herself. The trailer teases us with glimpses of her so-called friends, women who once championed her rise into society's upper tier. Now, their smiles look sharper, their words more poisonous. One scene shows a woman taking Bertha's hand at a glittering event, her lips mouthing sympathy while her eyes gleam with victory. These are the women who tolerated Bertha only because they could not defeat her. Now they sense weakness. And weakness in the Gilded Age is a sin that no one forgives. The cruelty of society lies in its speed. The very same people who toasted her triumphs are now the ones who sharpen their tongues against her. And then there are her enemies, the ones she humiliated, outmaneuvered, or outright crushed in past seasons. For them, the divorce is more than gossip. It is vengeance served on silver trays. The trailer suggests a few key figures returning, faces once cast aside, who now smile at the prospect of Bertha's ruin. Their reactions are not whispers but open challenges, as if daring her to step into society's arena again without George at her side. The tone is clear. They believe her fall is inevitable, but if the past has taught us anything, it is that Bertha thrives when cornered, and her enemies may regret celebrating too soon. Even George's role in these reactions is layered. The trailer hints that some men in his circle rally to him, seeing Bertha's downfall as a chance to strengthen their alliances with George directly. Others, however, treat him with suspicion, wondering if his empire is stable or if his personal failings will soon bleed into his business. Divorce in the Gilded Age reflects not just on the woman but on the man, and George is no exception. His rivals, once restrained by the solidity of his household, now move against him in the shadows. And this adds a bitter irony. George, too, is judged, though not with the same cruel relish reserved for Bertha. The reactions ripple even further. Servants whisper in kitchens, reporters linger outside mansions hoping for scraps of scandal, and the broader public, those who look up at the Russells as symbols of the modern age, are divided. Some see Bertha as a cautionary tale, proof that no woman should rise too high, while others see her as a symbol of defiance, a woman refusing to accept the rules written by men and upheld by hypocrites. The trailer captures this divide in quick cuts, newspaper headlines screaming, "Russell marriage in ruins," street vendors gossiping as they pass papers, ordinary women pausing to discuss the story as though Bertha's fate somehow mirrors their own. What makes this section of the story so powerful is how it transforms Bertha's divorce from a private tragedy into a public battlefield. Every person she encounters now has an opinion, a reaction, a judgment. Some laugh, some pity, some plot. And in their reactions, we see the true face of Gilded Age society: ruthless, shallow, but endlessly fascinated by scandal. Yet, the trailer ends this segment not with Bertha defeated, but with her standing tall amid the whispers, her gaze unflinching. The message is unmistakable. Society may react with cruelty, but Bertha will answer with fire. At its heart, the Gilded Age has always been more than jewels, railroads, and dinner parties. It is about survival in a world where wealth is not just currency, it is identity, armor, and destiny. In Season 4, the divorce storyline elevates these themes to their sharpest point yet. Divorce is not simply the end of a marriage. It is the ultimate test of everything Bertha Russell has fought for since the moment she stepped into New York society. The stakes are higher than ever, because this time, it is not just about outshining her rivals at a ball or outmaneuvering an old money matron. It is about Bertha proving that she can stand as an empire unto herself. The first major theme the trailer underlines is reputation as power. In the Gilded Age, reputation is more valuable than gold. A man can lose money and rebuild, but once a name is stained, it becomes nearly impossible to wash it clean. For women, reputation is their only weapon. A divorced woman in Bertha's position is expected to shrink into the background, silenced by shame. But Bertha is not a woman who disappears. The trailer makes this clear. The very whispers meant to destroy her may become the fuel for her reinvention. Each judgmental look, each snide comment, each headline screaming scandal becomes another reason for her to fight harder. The theme here is powerful. When reputation is used as a weapon against you, do you break under it or do you wield it yourself? The second theme that rises in the trailer is the cost of ambition. Bertha has always been ambitious, unapologetically so. But ambition in this world is painted as dangerous, especially when it belongs to a woman. The trailer gives us flashes of her standing alone in grand rooms, her reflection staring back from gilded mirrors, as if asking the question, how much more will you sacrifice? Her marriage was once the foundation of her rise. Without it, does her ambition become her downfall? Or does it become the very thing that saves her? The stakes here are deeply personal. Bertha must decide whether to let heartbreak slow her down, or to transform her ambition into something even greater, something untethered from George, from marriage, from tradition. A third theme, woven tightly into the trailer, is the fight for independence in a rigid society. The Gilded Age was a world that demanded women stay silent, obedient, and ornamental. Bertha, however, has always been none of these things. Divorce, scandalous as it is, may ironically give her a kind of freedom she has never had before. The trailer suggests this, with moments of Bertha not in ballrooms or opera houses, but in quiet, commanding settings, walking through the halls of her mansion alone, gazing at city skylines as if she is imagining a new future. The question burns, is this the moment Bertha breaks free from society's cage? If so, she would not just be surviving a scandal, she would be rewriting the rules of what a woman can be. The stakes extend beyond her personal life. They become a statement about every woman trapped by the iron bars of expectation. And finally, there is the theme of legacy. Everything in the Gilded Age is about legacy, what you leave behind, whose name echoes in the halls of history, whose bloodline carries on the weight of power. Divorce threatens to tarnish Bertha's legacy, to paint her story as one of disgrace. But the trailer hints at a twist. What if the divorce is not the end of her legacy, but the beginning of a greater one? We see her standing before her children, her chin high, her voice steady, as if she is determined that they will not inherit shame but strength. The trailer teases that Bertha's fight is no longer just for herself, it is for her family's future, for the Russell name, and for the empire she intends to leave behind. These themes converge into stakes that feel larger than any season before. Society is not just questioning whether Bertha will recover from divorce, it is questioning whether she belongs at all. If she falters, she loses everything: her influence, her place, her respect. If George falters, his empire begins to crumble, piece by piece, as rivals rush in. But if Bertha succeeds, if she transforms scandal into strength, then Season 4 promises something far more thrilling than a fall from grace. It promises a rise from the ashes. The trailer leaves us with that tantalizing possibility, that Bertha's divorce may not destroy her, but instead crown her as something far more dangerous than before. In this way, the themes of Season 4 are sharper, darker, and more urgent than ever. They ask us to consider, what does power truly cost? What happens when love and ambition collide? Can a woman in the Gilded Age carve her own path without being swallowed by scandal? The stakes are clear. The answers, however, are not. And that uncertainty is what makes the upcoming season so irresistible. The trailer assures us of one thing only. This divorce is not the end of Bertha Russell's story, is the beginning of her most defining chapter.